Oleksandr Zinchenko, an Arsenal star, has come to represent Pep Guardiola's anxiety over Man City.
Pep Guardiola, the manager of Manchester City, has criticized the morals of his players at the same time as Oleksandr Zinchenko, one of his former stars, has been leading Arsenal's title defense. Even considering the possibility that Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are presently involved in a crisis seems a bit absurd. After all, they just robbed Tottenham and Wolves of 6 points over the course of 4 days while scoring 7 goals in the process. Pressing the subscribe, like, and/or comment buttons and sharing with your closest friends will help support this channel. Many thanks. But it's obvious that something isn't quite right with the Premier League champions. Guardiola even acknowledges that his team is no longer the unstoppable force that they once were, and after their lackluster first-half performance against Spurs in midweek, he even questioned whether City had the passion, fire, and hunger necessary to win what would be a 5th title in 6 years. Arsenal's issues are related to City's issues in a number of different ways. The Gunners, who last won the domestic championship in 2004, have emerged as City's most competitive rivals this season and are 5 points ahead of them at the top of the standings. That would have been impossible even just a few months ago, and if it hadn't been, it's highly unlikely that Guardiola would have approved the departures of Gabriel Jesus and Oleksandr Zinchenko, who both transferred to the Emirates for relatively inexpensive sums. Despite frequently switching between the City team, Zinchenko and Jesus both had a winning reputation during their tenure with the champs. And instead of Manchester City, it's Arsenal that is benefiting from that this season. Zinchenko in particular is an odd case. Guardiola praised the versatile Ukraine international before approving his move to North London back in the summer, even though he frequently played second fiddle to the unstoppable João Cancelo. That choice has already manifestly backfired. The 25-year-old has struggled with injuries at the Emirates, but he has played a key role in Arsenal's championship defense. Ironically, although Zinchenko has prospered outside of Manchester, Cancelo has begun to struggle. Which team, Arsenal or Man City, do you predict will win the Premier League this year? Please tell us here. Zinchenko, though, has demonstrated excellence in other areas as well. The full current facts attitude toward the title race speaks volumes after establishing himself as a leader just months into his Arsenal career. It also seems a far cry from that of Cancelo, who has been relegated to a supporting role ever since Guardiola revealed that some players were not exhibiting the necessary body language in training. Zinchenko, who played a key role in Sunday's 3-2 victory over Manchester United in the same inverted wingback position Cancelo has made his own at the Etihad in recent seasons, said to Premier League Productions, "To be honest, when I just arrived, the quality I saw, obviously, I knew the Arsenal team, I knew all of them before, but still, I realized on the pitch that we have everything to achieve the big things. And I began to say, guys, forget top 3 or whatever it is, we need to worry about the title," while I was speaking in the changing room. Some of them were laughing, but now nobody is. Guardiola most definitely won't. Under Guardiola, Manchester City has reached new heights thanks to this kind of mental toughness. It has now come to symbolize Arsenal's incredible season. Zinchenko's absence off the field is weighing heavily on City as well. Without the versatile ace in his arsenal, Manchester City's manager was obliged to replace Cancelo with an inexperienced teenager named Rico Lewis due to the full difficulties. Backs. Although Lewis has clearly stepped up excellently, Guardiola won't be surprised to see that Zinchenko led Arsenal's Sunday game against Manchester United. The Manchester City manager could use someone with Zinchenko's credentials and mentality to lead by example right now, with several of his tried-and-true lieutenants struggling. Zinchenko was equally good at filling in on either wing or in midfield for Guardiola during his City career. Guardiola, who has never been one to shy away from change, is currently trying to thrash out a new winning formula in an effort to stop Arteta and Arsenal from beating City to the title, Sky Sports analyst Jamie Redknapp noted over the weekend. Given the abundance of skill in the Manchester City locker room, you wouldn't rule out the possibility of him discovering one. Even though he insisted over the weekend that he had no regrets about letting Jesus and Zinchenko leave the team in the summer, it is impossible to ignore the fact that the former is, in many ways, both the cause of and the remedy for some of the problems Manchester City has been facing this season.